Now, how did I get those assignments in there, and how does it prompt the student to fill in the answers? Well, it's all about the deadline dates for the assignments. So I'm going to go into a classroom now, not this Mr. Tyson's class, but a different class, and we'll see how to set up an assignment from the very beginning. I'm going to go into Bear class. By clicking on the name Bear class, I get into my classroom, and you can see that I've previously had an assignment in here, which was my numeracy test, and I've also got different announcements as we go. This classroom is a typical example of what you find in Google Classroom. It's nothing special, but it just is useful for the demonstration tool. At the very beginning of an assignment, you need to find out where you're going to be and what you want to do for your assignment. So to do that, you go up to the top and you click on Classwork, which is your top button. One of the top tabs, you've got Stream, which is your flow of topics and information and updates. You've got Classwork, which is where all the work is created. Then you've got People and Marks. People is the individuals in that class, and Marks is the teacher mark book to show results and outcomes. By clicking on Classwork, I've then got choices. Now you'll see here that this classroom is already well organized. So this is the first part about assignments, is actually organizing yourself somewhat. So I've got geography, I've got school rules and guidance, I've got literacy, and I've got numeracy. And you can see here that they're all organized in that order. And if I look on the side menu, I've got the side menu of topics, geography, school rules and guidance, and so on. So the first thing I want to be doing before I create an assignment is figuring out what my categories are going to be, what my topics are going to be. So topics is the first point to look at. After topics, I then need to be looking at where my assignment or what type of assignment it's going to be and how I'm expecting to get student responses through. So you can see there's little icons here, and each of these icons in this Bear class have got different images to show what type of assignment they are or what type of assignment response I'm expecting. So it's going to be a download or an upload or a filling in a form. All of these options in this block are available through the Create Plus button. So I'm going to click Create Plus now, and I get the drop down, which has 5 different options and a topic option at the bottom. The top 5 are all to do with the actual content you send out to students. So an assignment is a piece of work. It may have an attached form or a sheet, or you may be expecting them to use Google Docs or some other product to write down their answers or send a submission back to you. A quiz assignment is a test-based assignment or a questionnaire-based assignment or something similar, which will allow you to have a more integrated, formalized response. So think about it as a sheet with missing word answers. It's a virtual version of that. The next one is question, which we'll go through shortly. We've also got material, which is more about class resources and class materials, and reuse post. Reuse post means that if you have something created once, you can then make that same post available again and just retweet it or repeat it again and again. And the final section here underneath the pale line, which I'm not sure if you can see on your screen, is topic. So the topic button there allows me to put in these subheadings and titles, which I've got geography, school rules and guidelines, and so on. So this is what a finished product will look like in assignments in classwork, but I'm going to just run through very briefly how I can use this in a fresh class. So I'm going to go back to all my classes, and you can see Mr. Tyson's class and use Bear class and use let's try 7GT. In the classwork for 7GT, you can see I'm going to get prompts as I go through, but as classwork here, I am a student. I cannot create anything, so if I'm a student in a classroom, I can't actually get any of those options. If I go back to a different class, to my demo class, you'll see here it's being used. I've got classwork and I can create things. So as a basic user or as a first-time user of assignments, this is the screen you'll be met with. The option of create is still there, but there's no other structure in place. It tells you how you can create things, but let's go with best practice. I'm going to start with creating myself a topic, a section. Now my topic or section is going to be about English, just for convenience, and I click on add, and any other topics I might be teaching. So if I'm a primary school teacher, it might be English and maths and science and so on. So I'll just pick a few titles to go in here. Add topic maths. And again, I'm just going to add one more topic, and that's going to be science. If I add them in place, you can see I've now got some structure to my thought. It's like creating folders, essentially. So in the classwork area, I've created my topics, and now I'm going to create an assignment at first. So this assignment is going to be one of my science assignments. So before I go anywhere else, I'm going to go down to topic here. And my drop down, I've got creating a topic, or I've got my pre-existing topics. I'm going to pick a topic area just to keep myself in order. And I'm going to use science in this example. So this title here is going to be about the weather. So we're going to talk about the water cycle in particular. So now bear in mind, I'm not going to be doing lots of things in this. It's just to demonstrate how to use the tool. So the water cycle here, instructions, type in the information or question. Okay, so you just put in the instructions there, and you can click on add or create. Now adding is an attachment, so you just click on that, and you can go from Google Drive, you can go from a file that exists in your computer. I'm going to go to the file from my computer, browse it, and I've got some demonstration. I've got a demonstration Word document here, so I'm just going to upload that. It doesn't matter if I'm going across from Microsoft to Google. It transfers it into my Google Drive, and it's now uploaded. I could create something in Google Drive directly if I wanted to work on a live document, for example. So it's for demonstration. Now that's my assignment basically done. Now this Word document could have questions and answers on there. It can be editable by the student. They can fill in things on the sheet, so to speak. So I don't need to worry about doing anything else. And I can just say fill in the answers and submit the saved file. But currently, if you look at this tag here, it says students can only view the file, which means it's no good if we want them to give feedback or respond or edit the file. If I click on that drop down, I've got two choices, which apart from viewing the file, I've got students can edit the file. Now this would be a single shared document which all students are taking part in, which is great if you're doing large data gathering exercises, but not good if you want to have individual responses coming back. You can set assignments to small groups of students, and that will mean that you can use editing the file, and it can be group work to share. Making a copy for each student means that each student will get an individual copy of that sheet, and they can fill it in individually and submit it individually. So that's where we're going. I'm not going to add any more options here, but you can keep on adding and creating as far as you want to and get as many attachments per item in the assignment that you want to. For demonstration, and this group here allows me to click on all students. If I had individual named students in there, I could select individual names and make groups and subgroups or tables of my students. The points number is a default. You can either have it unmarked, which means you don't get a number response, or you can click on the drop down again and you can give it a number. Any number you can pick, round numbers. I personally prefer 100 or 10 as being a starting point, but if you have different point scales, you can do that. The alternative is you can use a rubric, which I'll show you shortly. If you've got a due date, then this due date will prompt the students to complete their assignment on time. If you don't have a due date in place, you will not get those reminders you saw on the first page. So I'm going to click on the drop down for due date, and I'm going to pick a date in the near future. So I'm going to pick, so I'll pick this afternoon. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to give them a whole afternoon to do it in, so 1700 hours. And that means that this afternoon we'll get a prompt. Oh, it's saying tomorrow, sorry. Today at 5 o'clock. Okay, so it gets rid of the date, it says 5 o'clock today. The topic is science. I'll come to rubrics in a moment, but you can add a rubric here if you've got some already existing, or you can create new rubrics. I'll come to those shortly. Collecting plagiarism, you can pay for this function to get on plagiarism checked on a large scale. I can do 5 plagiarism checks in case you're copying and pasting large chunks of text from websites. That's what plagiarism tool does. You just tick that box, you get the prompt, and you can either continue or not continue. It's 5 assignments per class. It's quite useful, but it's not essential. If you want to have it for a larger plagiarism check, you can pay for an additional service. So that's the basics of the assignment setup. The main part is getting the date and time of closure and making sure we've assigned it to the correct students. I'm going to click on assign now, or I can click on this drop down menu. If I click on the drop down, I get 4 options. Assign is the same as pressing the brown button in this case, which puts it live straight away. Schedule allows me to assign something later on, so I can schedule a piece of work to be assigned at a later date or time. I can save a draft, which means it's not assigned and it's not going to pop up in the timeline anywhere, but it's just there ready for me to call upon later on, which means I can set and schedule work in my own timescale. So if things change, I can save these as drafts. And I can discard draft, which means essentially deleting it. So don't discard your draft unless you want to. Because we've only got 21 minutes in total, I'm going to assign that now. So the assignment's now in place. Once the menu updates itself, you can see my water cycle assignment is now present and correct, and it's due at 5 o'clock today. Very quickly, I'm going to go through some other ones. So creating a quiz assignment. Again, this is a water quiz. Type in water quiz in the title area. And you can see that the instructions here can be the same. I'm just going to type in the word instructions. I'm sorry, I'm getting some background noise. If someone's got a microphone on, would you mind muting, please? Thank you very much.
Sorry.
As in Mexican.
We can mute all. I can mute you all.
Ooh, what you got, miss?
Spicy rice.
Miss just said that shit.
Yep, there we go. Thank you very much for going on silent. You beat me to it. Okay, so here we go. So we've got a water quiz and we've got instructions. You can see here that I've got a blank quiz on Google Forms. By selecting a quiz assignment, it automatically creates a quiz in Google Forms. If you click on that, you can then create the quiz using the Google Forms tool, which I'll be discussing in a later 21 and 21. But you can say this here and just very quickly, is water wet? Okay, rubbish question. But you can say below 0 degrees centigrade. I already know how to use quizzes. And you can add another option there. So I'm going to change to when is water wet. Okay, so that's a multiple choice question. And because it's going to be a quiz assignment, I can add scores to this. Okay, I can give an answer key. If I click on the answer key here, I can choose to give a total of 1 point, and its water is wet when it's above 0 degrees. So that's showing that it's a correct answer is worth 1 point. I could carry on that through so you then get a self-marking quiz. Click on done, and then I can carry on adding questions if I want to, or I can just leave that as it is. I add questions and other tools by using these buttons on the side, but that's for a different training session. I'm going to click on send. And I'm just going to, I'm not going to send it, sorry. I'm just going to drop out of that. I'm just going to drop out of the quiz because it's saved straight away. You can see here at the top it says all changes saved in Drive. I'm not going to send it. The blank quiz is there. I'm just going to click on assign, but I'm not going to put a due date in. If I click on assign without a due date, you'll notice I've got the water cycle, I've got the water quiz. Now the water quiz is just a lump of tool there. If I go back to the stream, in this demo classroom, I can only see the water cycle activity as due. The water quiz is nowhere to be seen. What I need to do to use assignments well is I need to go back to Classworks and I need to edit this water quiz. And I need to put in a due date. I'll put in tomorrow and I'll put in just a minute to midnight tomorrow. Topic, it's in science again, so I'm going to put it in the topic and click on save. And now I'm getting myself organized in my assignments by having everything in the right place. It helps to organize the students because in the stream, they will get the upcoming assignments and what's due. Now, one final bit about this assignments tool before we move on. In creation, you do have questions, which are single questions, but material is not something for the students to interact with apart from reading. If I click on material, I can put in files. So this might be my water research material. And if I put that in there, I can put a description in if I want to and just leave it as a description, or I can add files. Again, I'll just add a file. Upload. And as it goes through upload, it will bring up my menu again. So it should do. You've seen this done already, so I'll just click on recent and see if I've got this. Hey, I did my Word document. There we go. So it's gone from Drive, insert that. And you can see I've got my Word document there. It's my water research material. It's for demonstration only. That's a demo classroom, but I could put it in different classes at the same time. And it's part of my science topic because it's all about water. I'm going to click on post now. And my water research material goes through. I've now got all these resources in place. The stream shows only the assignments which are not information based. And I'm in the final place where I could reuse post if I want to. Now the last one is reusing post. It will look through all my classrooms. So I know that Bear class has some resources. I'm going to pick one of these, my example assignment. I'm going to click on reuse. So there's an existing assignment from a different classroom and I can change it if I want to, but I'm not going to. I'll give it a due date because that's best practice, Friday. And I'll give it a topic of science. And this time I'm going to do a rubric. So a rubric here, if I reuse a rubric, I can take a rubric of information from any, I've not got into that course. I can take a rubric from any of my classrooms and I can pop it in, and that allows the mark scheme to be automated. So this one's with 7 points. Okay, so I do it with unmarked, I'll make it 7 points. And the rubric there will allow the students to see what they're doing and they can mark against the rubric. To see what the rubric is, clicking on the rubric, you can see here I've got some written work, spark, spelling, punctuation, and grammar. And I've got a greater depth of working at and a working towards challenge. And creativity, I've got these as well. The students can self-mark if they want to, or I can as a teacher mark against it. Let's just close that out of the assignment. Okay, so I've got the example assignment there in draft currently. Let's just change it, edit that, and I'm going to assign it now. So we've now assigned a number of classes, a number of demo classroom assignments, but you can only see 2. These are the 2 most immediate assignments. If I click on view all, you can see the 3 assignments that require handing in. As a teacher, I can see that some are handed in when they're assigned, when they're handed in, when they're marked. If I go back to my classes, I'm going to look back in that Bear classroom again, and I'm going to look at the assignments, the classwork here. So I've got different resources here, different questions here. So it wasn't Bear class, was my demo, was it? I wasn't in my Bear class demo. I was in Mr. Tyson's class. Apologies for that. So I've got the homeworks here. If I click on classwork again, I can see the assignments. And if I click on marks, because I'm the teacher, I can now see that I've got a student in here, and I can give scores. If I look on these pieces of work, if I've seen the work, I can type in it straight away. If I click on the 3 dots, I can view the submission of that student. So assignments can be used very smartly by seeing what the work is the child has done, by going into that final option there, that final tab, and I can use it as my virtual mark book. So I can see what I've done. Anne's written nothing because of the demonstration, but I'm going to give her 75%, so 75 out of 100. Alternatively, I can use the written work rubric, looking at those things and select greater depth. Creativity rubric, I can select use similes, and I can provide private comments of try a metaphor or something else. We've only got 21 minutes, so I'm just going to be very brief to Anne. I'm sorry, Anne. Now this is my feedback. I've not returned it. I can return it to the child there as a response, but you can see there that actually she's got a score. It was my initial points there, but it's out of 100, so it's worked it out there and added on my sub scoring. Return this submission, click on that, and then that's going to tell Anne Eagle that I've submitted her marking and she's got her result back. So click on return, and then Anne will get an email or a notification to say that her work's been marked and what the mark is. This means you can go through a lot of students at once. These left and right arrows allow you to ping backwards and forwards through an assignment from child to child to child as you mark them on this main part of your screen. So that's what we use with that. I'm just going to close that and look back at my record book. You can see there that Anne's results have gone in, and I could go along and mark the next set of work and the next set of work and so on. My Anne Eagle account has just told me that's been marked. I've got that on a separate computer. So final prompt, Mr. Tyson's class again. I'm going to look in the classwork here. I'll be looking at marks in particular. The marks are linked with the names of the assignments that I've put in the classwork. So you see, what is your name? Harry Potter quiz. What is your name in Harry Potter quiz? You can see the deadline dates on there, so you can use that as a prompt all the way through. The final part for using assignments smartly is the calendar. If you look on a calendar, when you put an assignment deadline date in there, the student calendars and the teacher calendars are color coded. If you select all classes or individual classes, you can see the color code for that class and the assignments that are due on the calendar. And that is how you use assignments smartly and make the most of assignments by using the assignments tool, the calendar, the rubric, and teacher responses. It's been 21 minutes with a slight delay at the start, so hopefully it's been enough to get you going. If you would like to find out more about Google Classroom or request some training, we have got Schools ICT able to support you. If you'd like to fill in a brief feedback form, you can do on that, and in the chat, which might be a button up here, it might be a message across the middle when you wiggle your mouse, you'll find that the feedback forms is literally a star rating for how you found the session, a little comment of response and feedback if you want to give some, that would be great. If you'd like to book a training session for a wider school or for yourself, then feel free to use your information on that as well. But apart from that, that's your lunchtime over. It's time to perhaps boil a kettle and get a second drink before 1 o'clock. But apart from that, I hope it's been useful. If you'd like to switch on your microphones and have a chat, I'm more than happy to stay around for a few minutes. If you'd rather just press the red leave button and go away, you're more than welcome to. It's been a pleasure having you here, so thank you very much for your time.